Morning, students. I just wanted to go through this worksheet with you. So the worksheet that I assigned yesterday, I want to give it to you, or go through all of them today. So we'll start here, first one. So we're working with the radical properties, or exponent properties. What do we do with it? If we come to anything, first of all, square root, you could try reordering it. Okay? If I have a square root, that means I have a root of 2 right in front. That means I'm looking for groups of 2. So kind of go back to the old way where we go 3 times 4, which breaks down to 2 and 2. So I could rewrite that. So if I look at 12, okay, that's 2 times 3 times r. That's all underneath the radical. Radical means I need groups of 2. So I have a group of 2 right there. So I take that and I put in front. So my answer would be negative 3 times 2. Then I still have a 3 and an r left over. So that would be 3r. And then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, square root of 3r. So that's the first one as we look at it. Next one, exponents. If we multiply, this one's pretty straightforward. When we multiply, the bases are the same, so I have a 4 and a 4. We're multiplying, so we add the exponents. So 3 plus 5, so that 3 plus 5 would be 8. 8 over 2. Now, you simplify. Okay, 8 over 2 is 4. So 4 to the 4th power, and I believe that's 256. Just double check that. So as you go through it, yeah, so this is 256. Number 3. So I'm going to erase number 2 or 1. Okay. Number 3, we look at it, the bases are the same, so we're going to subtract. So again, so 4 minus 2, so this would be, again, if I look at the top number is bigger, so I know that this is going to be in the numerator when I'm done. So it would be 27. 4 minus 2 is 2 thirds. Well, what's 27 to the 2/3 power? So that's 27 to the 2nd power root of 3. So I need to know, what's the 3rd root of 27? Okay, so again, you could break it down for any groups of 3, so you could do it this way. Or you could go through it on your calculator. But the 3rd root of 27 is 3 to the 2nd power, which is 9. So you need to always check it. If you're not sure, you could take 27 out here, break it down, 3 times 9, that's 3 and 3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. So I need a root, I need a group of 3. I have one group of 3. And then we raise it to the 2nd power. Here, we're going to go through, there's a number of things. So if I raise an exponent to an exponent, that becomes a power of 4. So 2 times 2 is 4. Then down here, this has a power of 1, b to the 1st power. So I'm going to add these two together. So 1 over 2, so I need a common denominator. 1 over 1, so I multiply that by 2 and that by 2. So this really, 1 over 1 would be 2 over 2. And then I can add these two together. So I have a to the 3/2, and then b, okay, so 1 plus 2, okay, so that would be 1 plus 2 is 3/2 power. So then I got to get these a's together. So again, this would be 4 over 1. I need a common denominator, so I multiply this by 2. So it's really a, that would be 8 over 2, and then a 3/2, and b to the 3/2. So then I would just simplify. So I subtract, okay, when I divide these are the same, a and a, so I subtract. 8 over 2 is bigger than 3 over 2, so 8 minus 3, okay, 8 minus 3 is 5. So we'd say a to the 5/2 power over b to the 3/2 power. And that would be my answer. Next ones. Is right here. So if I have the exponent on the outside, then we're going to apply it to both numbers. So this 2/3 would go, it'd be 27 to the 2/3 power, and 6 times 64 to the 2/3 power. That should be times as well. So what this means is that's 27 to the 2nd power root of 3. We already said the third root of 27 is 3 squared, which is 9. Come here, same thing. So it's 64 to the second power root of 3. Again, what's a root of we need a group of 3, so that would be 4 to the second power, which is 16. So then 9 times 16 is 144 as you go through it. But again, you could break down 64. That's 8 and 8. That's 4 and 2. 4 and 2. That's 2 and 2. So if I look at it, there's 1, 2, 3. I have a group of 3. 1, 2, 3. Another group of 3. So I have two groups of 2. So 2 times as you look at it. So that's what we're looking for. 8, 4, 2. We're looking for groups of 3. What didn't I do right? Yeah, 2 times 2, which is 4, and then 4 squared, which is 16. Okay? If you come over here, we got to apply it to both of them. So it'd be 1 to the 1/5 power over 243 to the 1/5 power. So if I raise it to it, both exponents get it. So parentheses, this exponent goes to both of them. So then I would simplify. Okay, that's 1. Okay, power of 1 root of 5. Okay, same thing here. 243. Power of 1, root of 5. So what's the 5th root of 1? Be 1. What's the 5th root of 243? That would be 3. So it'd be 1/3. So now we start combining both exponents and numbers. So same thing, this 3/2 power, so that's going to go to 25 to the 3/2 power and x to the 3/2 power. Over, we have 5, and then x to the 1/2 power. So first of all, what I do is simplify this one right here. 25, okay, let's look and see what it has. These ones, if I look at it, same basis, so I subtract it. So for the 25, I kind of off to the side, 25. Raised to the power of 3, root of 2. Okay, what's the square root of 25? That would be 5 to the 3rd power. And then 5 to the 3rd power is 125. So I'd write that in. That's 125 over 5. Still, then we subtract. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So x. So 3 minus 1 is 2 over 2. Again, it goes up top because 3/2 is bigger than 1/2. So it goes... Whichever number is bigger, it goes to that numerator or denominator. And then we simplify. 125 divided by 5 is 25. 2 over 2 would just be x. You could put to the 1st power, or you could just put x, either way. And then you could put over 1, but we'd simplify like that. We apply this property. Now, one thing that I'm going to do, anytime I have a negative exponent, we're going to flip this whole thing. So this negative exponent applies to that whole thing. So it was in the numerator, now I'm going to drop it to the denominator. So we always want positive exponents. If it's negative, it flips. If it's in the top, it'll flip to the bottom. If it were negative in the bottom, then it'd flip up to the top. So then you have 9x, and I'll apply this property. So we're going to apply 1/2 to the 9 and 1/2 to the x. So now I'm going to apply the 1/2 property down below, so 1/2 there. So I have 9 to the 1/2 x to the 1/2 over 4, okay, to the 1/2 power, and then x to the 1/2 power. Now, if I look at it, I can't subtract 1/2 and 1/2. The bases aren't the same. I can't subtract here, so 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0. So they go away, they cancel out. Okay, so 9 to the 1/2 power, that's really 9 to the 1st power, root of 2. So what's this? Okay, same thing here, 4 to the 1st power, root of 2. And then those two cancel off. 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0, so they cancel off. So what's the square root of 9? That'd be 3. What's the square root of 4? 2. Last two. Okay. So in this case, what we're looking for is groups of 3. So I'll show you a couple different ways that you can do it. So 81, if I look at it, breaks down to 9 times 9, which is 3, 3, 3, and 3. So if I look at 81, so I want a group of 3. Don't forget this 3 on the outside that we started with. Okay, so 81 is breaking down to 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. X to the 4th power means there's 1, 2, 3, 4 x's in there. Y to the 2nd power means there's 2. Now, root of 3 means we want groups of 3. So I have a group of 3 there, I have a group of 3 there, and I don't have any other groups. So those groups are going to come out. So I already had a 3 on the outside. We took out a 3. We took out an x. Actually, no. So what we took out was we took out a 3, and we took out an x. We still have this root left over. So what's left over is I have a 3, so times it by 3. I have an x, and then I have 2 y's, so it's a y squared, and then I multiply. 3 times 3 is 9x, cube root of 3x, y squared. And I'll put this root of 3, like that. So that would be our answer. Same thing when we come over here, we want a group of 3. So when I come through here, I have a negative 5. We'll keep that on the, so let's break down to 500. So that's 5 times 100. So we'll say negative 5 times 100. And that's 10 times 10. That's 2 times 5. And that's 2 times 5. Okay, so if I look at it, we just have to make one of these numbers a negative. So we're just going to leave it like that. So if I look at, so I have this negative 5 on the outside. We're taking a root of 3. And so if I look at 500 breaks down to 2. So negative 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5. So if I look at 1, 2, 3, 5's there. Then x, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then y's, there's 1, 2, 3. And now you go ahead, we want a group of 3. So we have a group of 3. We have 5, that's a group. We have x's, group. We have y's, group. So we have the negative 5 already. So that stays. Okay, then we took out a 5. We had one group. We had a group of x's. We have a group of y's. Then what was left over? Cube root is we had negative 2 times negative 2, so we can put negative 4 in here. And we have x times x, which is x squared. And then lastly, simplify. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. X, y, cube root of 4x squared. So I want to go through that. I don't think I did it. There was enough explanation going through it. So that's it. If you've done your worksheet, go back through, check it. I've gone through the ones that were submitted this morning. And then if you haven't, go through, check your answers. Make sure, don't just skip through and write it, understand how we do it. You're going to have another assignment going through it today.